The 6th of April, 1941. While hundreds of Luftwaffe fighters are dropping bombs on Belgrade in order to conquer Yugoslavia, Nazi Germany, under the codename Operation Marita, begins the simultaneous invasion of Greece. Hitler sees Greece as a potential threat to the southern flank of his planned attack on the Soviet Union and wants to secure crucial supply routes for German forces in the Balkans and southeastern Europe. The German 12th Army, commanded by Field Marshal Wilhelm List and supported by additional Italian and Bulgarian troops, conquers Greece in several weeks. Following the surrender, local partisans continue to fight against the Germans and their allies, who terrorize the local population and commit unspeakable atrocities against civilians. One of the main perpetrators responsible for these atrocities is Friedrich-Wilhelm Müller. Friedrich-Wilhelm Müller was born on the 29th of August, 1897 in Barmen, then part of the German Empire. The First World War began on the 28th of July 1914. During the war, Müller served in the German army and was promoted to second lieutenant. In 1916, for his bravery and leadership in combat, he was awarded both the second and first class of the Iron Cross. Remaining with the German army after World War I, which ended with Germany's defeat on the 11th of November 1918, Müller rose through the military hierarchy, reaching the rank of major in 1936. By this time, Adolf Hitler, who had been appointed German Chancellor on the 30th of January 1933, was actively preparing Germany for war. Hitler had already begun rearming the nation in violation of the Treaty of Versailles, expanding the military, and introducing conscription in 1935. The remilitarization of the Rhineland in March 1936 further demonstrated his aggressive intentions. Additionally, Hitler launched the 4-year plan to ensure Germany's economic self-sufficiency and bolster its war readiness. He also secured strategic alliances with Italy and Japan, which strengthened Germany's geopolitical position and military coordination. These actions were clear indicators that Hitler was determined to restore Germany's military power and pursue his expansionist ambitions, setting the stage for the conflict that would soon engulf the world. The Second World War started on the 1st of September, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland. The early stages of the war saw rapid German advances in Europe, with the fall of Poland, the invasion of France, and the evacuation of British forces from Dunkirk in 1940. Müller participated with his battalion in the French campaign, witnessing Germany conquer France within 6 weeks. Following the successful campaign in France, Hitler set his sights on the Soviet Union. However, before he could launch Operation Barbarossa, which was the code name for the invasion of the Soviet Union, he needed to secure the southern flank to ensure crucial supply routes and prevent any interference. Therefore, on the 6th of April 1941, Germany invaded Greece with rapid and coordinated assaults. The German 12th Army, consisting of around 680,000 troops and spearheaded by armored divisions, quickly overwhelmed Greek and British Commonwealth forces. Key locations such as Thessaloniki fell swiftly, and German paratroopers played a crucial role in securing strategic positions. By the 27th of April, 1941, Athens had fallen, and mainland Greece was under Axis control. Following the fall of Athens, Greek and Allied soldiers retreated to the island of Crete and other nearby territories. The conquest of Crete began in May 1941 with Operation Mercury, the first major airborne invasion in military history. Despite fierce resistance from the Allied forces and local Cretans, the superior firepower and tactics of the 22,000 German paratroopers eventually secured the island. In August 1942, Müller was promoted to Major General and simultaneously appointed commander of the 22nd Infantry Division for his successful operations in the Soviet Union. Subsequently, he was relocated to Crete, and after establishing his command on the island, Müller continued to demonstrate his military prowess. During the autumn of 1943, Müller led the German forces to victory over the Italian-British forces in the Dodecanese campaign. Several days before the campaign, Italy switched sides and joined the Allies. prompting the Germans to seize control of the Dodecanese Islands, located in the southeastern Aegean Sea, which at that time had been under Italian control. The Allies planned to use the islands as bases to strike against German targets in the Balkans. During the campaign, on the island of Kos, under Müller's orders, German forces killed and buried in mass graves over 100 Italian army officers who refused to side with their former allies, after being captured at the end of the battle for the island. Despite the German occupation, resistance movements in Greece grew stronger as the war progressed. Partisans organized guerrilla warfare against the Axis forces, conducting sabotage operations, ambushing German patrols, and providing crucial intelligence to the Allies. With Müller's arrival, however, the Nazis began their reign of terror, marked by reprisals, mass executions, and widespread suffering among the Greek population. In September 1943, in retaliation for resistance activities against the occupying forces, Müller and his men committed one of the most brutal atrocities carried out by the Nazis during their occupation of Greece, known as the Viannos massacres. Over 3 days, from the 14th to the 16th of September 1943, the Nazis systematically executed more than 500 civilians across 20 villages in the Viannos region. In addition to the mass executions, German forces burned hundreds of homes, destroyed crops, and forbade survivors to return to their ruined homes and bury their dead. On a different occasion, in August 1944, on Müller's orders, German forces launched a devastating attack on the village of Anogeia. In April 1944, General Heinrich Kreiper had been kidnapped by Cretan partisans and British Special Operations executive officers, and Müller believed that Anogeia's residents had provided significant support to the resistance fighters involved in the abduction. When the locals noticed that a regiment comprising of around 2,000 men was approaching the village, they alerted the Anogean men, allowing many to flee to the mountains. Upon entering the village, German forces gathered the women and children, forcing them to march to a nearby village about 30 kilometers away. Around 25 villages, including women, elders, and disabled individuals who refused to leave, were summarily shot. The Germans systematically pillaged, burned, and dynamited the village houses, continuing their destruction for 23 days until early September. In the end, none of the Anogeia's 940 houses remained intact, the school was destroyed, and the churches were turned into stables. Shortly after the massacre of Anogeia, Müller ordered brutal reprisals related to resistance activities also in the 9 villages located in the Amari Valley, collectively known as the Kedros villages. The locals were gathered together, the identities of males were verified, and those to be executed were picked and kept separately. Women were ordered to return to their homes and collect their valuables, under the pretense that they would be going on a long journey. This was done to facilitate the looting that would follow. Women, children, and the elderly were taken away, while the men whose lives were spared were taken into custody. Following their departure, firing squads started the executions in groups. When finished, the dead bodies were doused in petrol and set on fire. In the days following the shootings, village homes were looted and then burned or blown apart with dynamite. In total, 164 innocent civilians were executed in what is today known as the Holocaust of Kedros. Due to his brutal and ruthless tactics, including mass executions and the destruction of villages, Müller earned the nickname among the local population as the Butcher of Crete. The Axis occupation of Greece ended with Germany's withdrawal from the country in October 1944. Estimates of the civilian death toll during the occupation vary widely, ranging from around 325,000 to 558,000. While most of these deaths were due to starvation, tens of thousands were killed during reprisals. Moreover, the Nazis murdered close to 60,000 Greek Jews as part of the Holocaust, which was almost 80% of the total Jewish population in Greece. In January 1945, Müller replaced General Friedrich Horsbach as the commander of the Fourth Army, who had defied Hitler's orders and withdrawn his troops from East Prussia in fear of a second Stalingrad. The Fourth Army had already been decimated by the time Müller took command. Facing relentless Soviet offensives, the remnants of the Fourth Army were in disarray, suffering from severe losses, low morale, and dwindling supplies. Müller's task was to regroup the shattered forces and attempt to hold the rapidly collapsing Eastern Front. However, despite his efforts, the Fourth Army was unable to recover, and the Red Army continued its rapid advance on Berlin. Müller ended the war in East Prussia, where he surrendered to the Red Army. Afterward, he was extradited to Greece and tried by a military court for war crimes. In 1946, Müller was convicted by a Greek court in Athens for the massacres of hostages as reprisals, and on the 9th of December 1946, he was sentenced to death. Friedrich-Wilhelm Müller was 49 years old when he was executed by firing squad on the 20th of May 1947, the anniversary of the Axis invasion of Crete. There were no tears shed for Friedrich-Wilhelm Müller. Thanks for watching the World History channel. Be sure to like and subscribe, and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss our next episodes. We thank you, and we'll see you next time on the channel.